Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
There are so many myths to do with early retirement, and what we want to do in this video is to take the top 5 and reflect on how accurate they are from our perspective after we made the decision to retire 2 years ago at the age of 51.
Okay, before we get started, I'll give you a little bit of background information about us. We are Richard and Jackie. We early retired at the age of 51 from our teaching careers. We loved our teaching careers. We sold our house and relocated to the Yorkshire Dales, and all of this was so that we could have the time to indulge ourselves in what we love the most, which is travel.
We'd always planned to retire at the age of 55, but sometimes life throws you a curveball. And in 2021, I lost my dad and then I lost my younger brother in quick succession. And that was just a complete shock and trauma to us both. And it caused us to reevaluate our lives significantly. And rather than sticking it out to 55, we decided to retire at the age of 51. So what we want to do in this video is to take you through the top 5 myths that are associated with early retirement from our perspective and give you some of our reflections after we have been early retired for coming up to 2 years. And before we start, just a little health warning. We're not financial advisors. We have no financial advice experience and we don't intend to offer that. All we are offering is our experiences and how we found our first 2 years of early retirement. And for you, it may well be very, very different.
So one of the biggest myths surrounding early retirement is that you need to be incredibly wealthy for you to be able to do that.
When we're thinking about finance and lifestyle, there are so many individual variables and it really is an individual position to be in. So when you are thinking about the resources that you have leading up to retirement, that is a very individual thing. People have different amounts of savings, people have different pensions, and people have a different pot, for a better word, of cash ready for early retirement. But likewise, there is a very individual decision to be made about the lifestyle that you want to lead in early retirement. And we don't have a bottomless pit of cash. So we realised that we needed to amend the expectations that we have for our early retired life and live a much more simple and modest life. And we choose to spend our resources on travel and adventure. And apart from that, we lead a really, really simple life. And that doesn't work for everyone. Not everyone would want to live a modest lifestyle in early retirement. And we know many of our friends that want to continue to work because when they retire, they want to live a much more lavish lifestyle similar to the lifestyle that they lived when they were working.
As we said at the beginning, we had always planned to early retire at the age of 55, and we spent a large proportion of our 30s and 40s making sure that we were going to be at a point where we would be debt-free. So we had made a plan so that we could pay our mortgage off. We had made sure that we have no credit card debts. When we bought our camper van, we tried to ensure that we would have a way of being debt-free on that. So when we got to the age of 51, actually, all our plans came through a little bit earlier, and we were completely debt-free.
And then as we got closer to that ultimate early retirement date, we did a lot of consultation with financial advisors to look into our pensions so that obviously there is a cost to retiring early and it's quite a significant cost, but we just wanted to know the actual figures because you have to have that plan and at least you know the unknowns then. So we think that we've got a pretty accurate prediction of what our pension and what our income is going to be. And then likewise, we try to project through how much our lifestyle would cost. And we try to budget that through month by month and year by year to see if it was doable. And in our last year, prior to early retirement, we actually lived on that budget, which was quite an interesting transition. It wasn't easy, but it did help us to save and it did help us to almost acclimatise to that new lifestyle.
It definitely helped us to save. We were living on a budget, taking cash out each week, and we were still getting our double teacher's income. So it was a good win both ways. There's a common belief that you should have to work until the state pension age of 67.
One of the certainties in life is that life will end. We can't get away from that. And the current life expectancy for a UK male is just over 80 years of age. So if you work to your state pension age, you will have worked for probably 50 years of your life, which will then give you a life expectancy of only 13 years. And there's been, quite a personal perspective on that as well. I lost my brother and he was 48.
And I lost my dad at the age of 65. He proudly got his first pension and he died before he could draw his second pension.
In one of our previous videos, I reviewed the book Die with Zero, which is quite a inflammatory, shall we say, title by Bill Perkins. But the whole context of that book is not actually about dying with zero. It's about thinking what you want to spend your resources on, and do you want to spend your resources on physical things, or do you want to spend them on experiences?
And people have laughed when we've talked about this before. We kind of see your pension age and your retirement age in three stages. There's your go-go years, and we are definitely in the go-go years at the moment. We had retired early. We are wanting to do lots of travelling and get as much done as we can. There is the slow-go years where you are still active and mobile. You can get about and do things. You still want to go around and do things and travel. And then there's the no-go years where your body just is not probably going to let you do as much as your mind would want to do.
So what, in essence, we did by retiring early was to try and maximise that window of the go-go years. And we know that in life there are no guarantees, but what we want to try and do is to make sure we have as much time in that really exciting period of the go-go years as we possibly can.
One of the things we were quite concerned about when we decided to early retire so young is that people would think that we just desperately hated our job and we would do anything to get out of our teaching careers. And that's not the case. We actually loved what we did. Richard taught for over 30 years in secondary schools, and I taught for nearly 25 years in primary schools. And we were pretty dedicated professionals. We loved what we did, but we just loved travelling and probably want to be quite selfish and have time for ourselves now.
There is a myth that without a job, you'll quickly become bored and you won't actually know what to do with your time.
And actually, for us at the moment, 2 years into our early retirement, it's the exact opposite. We are so busy. We laugh with our friends that have early retired that we just don't know where we found the time to work. We have engaged in lots of hobbies. We do a lot of hiking. We do a lot of cycling. We're definitely indulging our love of travel and getting away and doing what we want to do. We're just really busy.
And we've got various new projects. So we are sat in one of our projects. So when we first retired, we took on a building project and we renovated our Yorkshire Dales cottage to how it is today. And this is further evidence that we're getting a little bit more used to speaking on camera in terms of our YouTube project.
Yeah, I can't believe it's almost 2 years since we set up the YouTube channel, and that's definitely kept us busy. And something sort of linked in with that is that we get asked a lot about our lack of purpose in life now that we're not identifying as teachers anymore, now that we've not actually got a career. And I do know for some people that's a really, really big issue, that they are no longer in this career and don't know how to introduce themselves. I mean, we love saying, yeah, we're early retired. We do get some strange looks.
In terms of purpose, your working role is only one facet of your life. Mm-hmm. So, we are individuals, we are partners, we are sons or daughters, we are parents. In our case, we are content creators, we are writers, but that all makes up who we are. And it's not just that one aspect that is your job that you feel that there is a sense of loss when you do early retire.
Another myth, if you early retire, that you will inevitably run out of money and outlive your savings.
And to mitigate against this, there is really only one thing, and that is to have a clear and transparent and very honest financial plan. Now, none of us have a crystal ball and we don't know what's going to happen in the future. But if we know where we're at this moment in time and we think we've got an accurate prediction of where the future is, we're going to be in a better position than having no idea at all. This is possibly one of our biggest worries for us as a couple
It is.
in terms of early retirement. And I think it's possibly one of the biggest worries for all early retirees. When you read through the forums, it is about running out of money. Some of the things that we've put in place after the first year is we've now got a really tight budget plan, and we work on a weekly budget that we've talked a lot on this channel about, in terms of £200 cash is king, to try and live off things over the course of the week. On a monthly basis, we look at our expenditure and we then project that forward, and on a yearly basis we look at how much we've spent. And during those times, we can amend accordingly.
In our first year of early retirement, obviously we relocated to the Yorkshire Dales and we did this house project. We released a lot of equity from selling our house in Cheshire, but we did find that the running costs of doing this renovation were probably higher than we thought, and we weren't pacing our spending quite as much as we should have been doing, which is why we've brought in the rigid weekly, monthly, yearly overlook, which is definitely making a difference to, one, how much we're spending, and two, how much we're thinking about can we afford our early retirement. And at the moment, yes, we're still on track.
And ultimately, there is a solution, because if we think that we are running short of money when we are still young and early retired, then it leads quite nicely on to the next myth, which is early retirement means no more income. And looking at the early retired community, that is just not true, because early retirees hold down part-time jobs, consultancy, freelance work, they have small businesses.
For us as ex-teachers, our initial plan when we knew that we were going to early retire is to tutor. We didn't actually feel like we had a huge amount of skills to offer to do anything else at the time. But who knew 2 years later, just from us, mainly as a bit of a hobby to keep us busy setting up the YouTube, that we would be earning money as content creators. And Richard, who was told by his GCSE English teacher that he would never amount to anything, is now a freelance writer for various magazines.
I think Jackie's been really kind. It wasn't even GCSE, it was O level. I'm that old. But yeah, we've really enjoyed the content creation and the writing. And for us, 67 is still a long way off, and we could well go back into employment. But I think there is a difference in the fact that we both agree we would go back into jobs rather than careers, and something that is much more stress-free than our old careers. Having gone through the process of early retirement, the one thing that has absolutely come out through and through is that retirement is an entirely individual decision, and it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's needs are different, everyone's wants are different, and that is fine. What we've tried to do in this video is to just share our experiences.
So I hope you've enjoyed just listening to us chat through how we've found our experiences are against the different myths, and that is it for this week.
See you later.
Bye.